vitally central for getting this debate. My constituency, a place I'm proud to represent, is the 38th most deprived in the United Kingdom. We have wage crises, job crises, and housing crises. And now we have a Tory-made cost of living crisis, which my constituents literally cannot afford. It's a major issue that's filling my constituency mailbag, and I'm sure of other members as well. A recent survey from 38 Degrees found that it is the #1 issue facing my constituents. They found that 80% face higher bills, 76% face higher petrol prices, and 24% have lost income due to the universal credit cut. I wish I could stop there, but the testimony is even more telling. A constituent who wished to remain anonymous said, "I am a pensioner with a lung health problem. I cannot afford to heat my home, which makes the health problem requires a greater medical attention and putting more strain on the NHS. Petrol is becoming almost unaffordable. In just 8 months, a tank of petrol has gone up by roughly £17.50. And I must tell the Shadow Secretary of State that 5p of fuel duty won't even begin to cut it. In areas like mine, people are dependent on cars because we have very poor public transport link. So as a result, the only affordable option has actually now become incredibly expensive. And as the Honourable Member who introduced this debate said earlier, I do ask the Treasury to rethink the issue about mileage cost allowance, at least for public sector workers, and abolishing hospital car park charges. The Bank of England itself is predicting a recession. Interest rates will go up, and the energy cap in October and again 2023, inflation could pass 10%, and the list goes on. There's so much the government could do, but have refused to do so. We on this side have called for a windfall tax, which would provide support to households. Increase the universal credit back to what it was throughout the pandemic. Cancel national insurance rise. These are measures the government could take, but is refusing to do so. And it's not just short-term policy responses, which will put money into the pockets of working people, but a long-term plan to address these crises. The war in Ukraine has shown how important energy security is. We need to invest in renewables and nuclear energy, as the Labour Party has pushed for, to end our dependency on foreign nations. This will create proper jobs with living wage. We also need to invest heavily in our infrastructure, trams, trains, metros, to create so that economic effect and green up our nation. Again, it will create jobs. So I find myself saying this time and time again. This is not an issue of how, it is an issue of political will. And sadly, I think it's an issue that the government will continue to avoid confronting, while the opposition parties rightfully make the case for proper sport. Our constituents are suffering. It's about time the government did something to help them. And that's why it's not surprising that there's no member of the government bench here, because they know what's happening is indefensible.
Gerald Jones.